Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some incredibly fun battles in the Mega Master League featuring Solar Beam Primal Groudon. These battles were submitted to the channel by a fellow content creator, Doms, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now, Primal Groudon does typically run Fire Punch and Precipice Blades as his two charge moves, but this trainer is opting to run Solar Beam for the surprise nuke, and oh my goodness, the damage is absolutely unreal. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Solar Beam Primal Groudon in action in the Mega Master League. Hopping the first match, picking up a tough lead, Rayquaza into Mega Latios, save switch into Dialga, and the opponent responds with Melmetal. This is not what Dialga was hoping to see. Dialga will be able to tank any one move here, so Dialga is going to let the first move through, and the opponent baited with a Rock Slide that is a massive no shield. Dialga going to farm past 100 energy, waiting for the opponent to debuff themselves before they start firing energy. Opponent debuffs themselves with a superpower, and now Dialga is going to bait with the Iron Head, trying to grab a shield from the Melmetal. Iron Head does get the shield. Dialga continuing to farm. Melmetal makes it to another superpower. This superpower is not going to KO, but it will get the Dialga low. Aggressive switch into Rayquaza. Was this a superpower? It was not. Opponent went for a Rock Slide. Back in comes Mega Latios, and Latios is going to be firing off a Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw will be shielded by Rayquaza. Rayquaza now going to fire off Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe should be lethal from this range. Breaking Swipe is going to KO Mega Latios. We'll have to see, does the opponent send back in the Melmetal, or do we see the third? They send in the Melmetal. Melmetal able to get the farm down, but now Melmetal is going to be met with Primal Groudon. Groudon going to look to farm up a massive amount of energy to hopefully take out whatever's in back. Opponent firing off the back-to-back superpowers into the Groudon. Superpower number 2 is going to connect in the back. They have Landorus. One win con going for the beam. Do they respect the damage? They do not. Landorus gets one shot, and that is a good game. Moving into the next match, leading Rayquaza into Palkia. This is a pretty positive lead for Rayquaza, as Rayquaza is able to reach these breaking swipes very quickly and apply a lot of super effective pressure onto the Palkia. This should be a CMP tied to the Aqua Tail. Breaking swipe, not quite enough to KO. Palkia able to hang on, fire back with the last second Aqua Tail that is of course going to be resisted, and Palkia gets farmed down. Opponent sends in Zacian. Rayquaza banks a breaking swipe, and now in comes Primal Groudon. Opponent is staying in this matchup, firing off a close combat, and they are not switching out, so it looks like whatever they have in the back is weak to a Primal Groudon with energy. Groudon is going to shield up the second close combat. This Zacian is now in -4, meaning that even a Fire Punch will KO here. Groudon going for the Fire Punch. They let it go. In the back, opponent has their own Primal Groudon. Unfortunately, no Precipice Blades, so at this point, it's basically going to be a bluffing game. Firing off the Fire Punch, getting a shield, and again, trying to bluff the fact that this is a Precipice Blades. Opponent is going to double shield. In comes Rayquaza, and Rayquaza now gets the debuff with Breaking Swipe. This is their final Pokemon. They can never reset this debuff. They're going to be forced to fire off a resisted move to KO here. They go for the Precipice Blades. Down goes Rayquaza. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Picking up a pretty decent lead in the next match, Rayquaza going up against Primal Kyogre. Primal Kyogre, of course, can do a lot of damage in return to Rayquaza, so we are going to see a save switch into Dialga, and the opponent is going to send in their own. Farming up just shy of the Draco Meteor and going for the Iron Head. Iron Head, of course, not going to KO, but it is able to grab a shield from the opponent. Opponent is going to fire off an Iron Head of their own, but this does set up Primal Groudon for a potential aggressive farm down and Solar Beam play onto Kyogre. Groudon looking for the farm down here. Dialga reaches the last second move. We're going to see a shield from the Primal Groudon. They're actually running Thunder of all things, and Kyogre is about to be met with Solar Beam. Groudon charging up the Solar Beam. Do they respect it? Yes, they do. Switch into Rayquaza. In the back, opponent has Togekiss. These charms tearing through Rayquaza. Rayquaza with a sliver of HP makes it to the Hurricane. This Hurricane is not going to KO, but it will get the Togekiss low, and this may be Mud Shot downrange. The win con is clear. Groudon has to commit to the Mud Shot farm down to win this game. Ancient Power gets shielded. They do not get the boost. Groudon looking for the farm down. Leaves with the Solar Beam. Bring back in Primal Kyogre. Groudon, Solar Beam, one-shots Primal Kyogre. And that is a good game. Moving into the next match, picking up a decently tough lead, Rayquaza going up against Dialga. Definitely not where Rayquaza wants to be, so Rayquaza is going to be safe switching after one Dragon Tail into Groudon, and the opponent sends in Primal Kyogre. Kyogre looking for the farm down. Groudon makes it to the Solar Beam here. Kyogre respects it with a shield. That is absolutely heartbreaking. In comes Rayquaza, but Rayquaza is going to take a lot of damage from Origin Pulse here. So Rayquaza commits the shield. Kyogre only goes for the Surf. Rayquaza continuing to farm. They're going for Surf number 2. Rayquaza going to let this go, but Rayquaza is very glassy. So that is starting to get Rayquaza very low. Rayquaza over farming quite a bit, firing off the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe not going to KO. We see a switch into Dialga, and the opponent is going to match with their own. Farming up here, going for the Iron Head, but losing CMP to the opponent. That is very unfortunate. Opponent full sends the Draco Meteor, so that ends up being a very nice shield. Undercharging the Iron Head, looking for farm on the opponent's Dialga. Able to get some very nice farm. Opponent still, of course, does have some energy on their Kyogre, but they're going to send in their final Pokemon, which is Gyarados. Gyarados going to be met with the Hail Mary Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor does get shielded, and unfortunately, things are looking rough here, but we see a snipe. In comes Rayquaza. Is Breaking Swipe enough to KO here? Breaking Swipe is not enough to KO. Ends up being a CMP sack, but I still just don't think this is quite enough, as Dialga will get farmed down. We see familiar leads in the next match, Rayquaza going up against Palkia. As we've seen, this is a pretty nice lead for Rayquaza, so Rayquaza is going to stay in here and go for Breaking Swipe right off the bat. This will leave them basically on 1 HP. Palkia commits the shield. Rayquaza safe switches into Dialga. Opponent holds onto their energy, and this is enough for the Draco Meteor. Dialga shields. It's the Draco Meteor, and bad news for Dialga as it's met with Primal Groudon. Primal Groudon is able to outpace and make it to the Precipice Blades. This will easily KO. Dialga commits the shield. Dialga going to try and either grab the one-hit KO or the final shield with this Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor does get the shield from the Groudon. Unfortunately, Dialga is definitely in Fire Punch range now, so Groudon only has to go for the cheaper Fire Punch to KO. Fire Punch is going to KO, but now he can send back in Rayquaza, farming up, and we see a beautiful catch, catching the Fire Punch onto Primal Groudon. Let's go. That was a beautiful play. In comes Palkia, trying to make it to the Aqua Tail. Palkia falls short, and all they did was give Groudon farm. Opponent now going to wait their clock. They're going to send back in Groudon. Groudon makes it to a move. Did they already get to the Precipice Blades? They did not. It's just a Fire Punch. That is not going to KO. Groudon farming up. Going to be firing off a Fire Punch of their own here. Fire Punch gets the opponent low. Gets the farm down in the back. It's Togekiss. Unfortunately, I was going to say not something that can be Solar Beamed, but he's doing it anyway. Solar Beam. Big damage onto the Togekiss. And now going for the Fire Punch. Fire Punch onto the Togekiss. Gets the KO. And that's game over. We see a tricky lead in the next match, with Rayquaza being met on the lead with a Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados has a ton of play into this entire team. Rayquaza throws one Dragon Tail, we see a save switch into Dialga, and the Gyarados is staying in here. Gyarados going to be firing off a charge move. Dialga commits the shield. It's the crunch. We do not see a defense drop. Opponent now going to send in a Charm Primarina. Primarina is going to take neutral damage from the Iron Head due to the Water Fairy typing. Iron Head is going to get a shield from the opponent. Dialga makes it to Iron Head number 2, looking to continue to apply pressure onto the Primarina. This Iron Head is going to get no shielded as Primarina farms down. That is quite unfortunate. In comes Primal Groudon. Groudon will commit the shield in case they have a Hydro Pump. They do not. It's just going to be a Moonblast. And now Groudon looking for the farm down and gets the farm down. That is big. We'll have to see, is the opponent going to send back in the Gyarados? I would love to see Gyarados get Solar Beamed. Oh my goodness, going for a bait here, trying to grab a shield from the opponent. Fire Punch gets the shield, continues to farm, switches into Rayquaza. In the back, opponent has Palkia. Palkia going to be met with Breaking Swipe from Rayquaza. That's going to get Palkia low. Palkia does not get to a move, and Gyarados is going to fire off a charge move into Rayquaza here. This Aqua Tail is going to get Rayquaza low. Rayquaza gets farmed down. Primal Groudon gets to the Solar Beam. Let's go. Hello, Mega Gyarados. Goodbye, Mega Gyarados. And that's a good game. We see same leads in the next match. Rayquaza going up against another Mega Gyarados, but this one is shiny. Same as before, one Dragon Tail, save switch into Dialga, and this opponent is going to respond with a Metagross. Not the most comfortable matchup for Dialga, but Dialga can actually flip this if it's able to correctly shield Earthquakes in the 2-shield. Iron Head does get no shielded right off the bat, so if Dialga wants, it can take switch, and it's going to be committing the shield, successfully shielding the Earthquake. This is now definitely Iron Head range. Dialga firing off the Iron Head, looking to apply some pressure here onto the Metagross. Metagross is going to commit the shield. This is going to be another Earthquake. Decision time for Dialga. Dialga is going to double shield here, looking to try and win switch, and is able to win switch. That's quite nice. In the back, opponent has their own Dialga. We see a banking of the Draco Meteor. In comes Primal Groudon. Groudon farming up. Dialga trying to go for the killing blow here. Draco Meteor not going to be enough to KO. In comes the Gyarados. Oh my goodness, please. Please let them not respect this. Solar Beam does get shielded. Oh, that is heartbreaking to see. I was really wanting to see another Gyarados get deleted. Bad news for the Gyarados, however, this Draco Meteor is loaded, and that's going to hurt. Getting the Gyarados low. Gyarados is going to be firing off a charge move here. Gyarados, Aqua Tail, should just about KO Dialga, was unable to switch. Rayquaza gets the farm down. Opponent going to send back in Dialga, but Dialga is taking heavy damage from these neutral Dragon Tails. This Breaking Swipe is going to get Dialga low. Let's see, Rayquaza, yes it can farm down and get the win. Hopping into the final match, picking up a tough lead, Rayquaza into Dialga. Not where Rayquaza wants to be. Rayquaza throws one Dragon Tail, and we see the save switch into Dialga. Opponent staying in the mirror. Opponent will be able to reach a potential Draco Meteor since they do have the energy lead. We see a shield. Opponent baits with the Iron Head, and opponent is now going to send in Mega Gyarados. We see a bait here going for the Iron Head, trying to grab a shield from the opponent. Iron Head does get a shield from Gyarados. Gyarados looking for the farm down. Gyarados does not want to get hit with a Draco. They're going to fire off an Aqua Tail. We see a shield from Dialga. Dialga gets to the Draco Meteor, putting pressure on that final shield from the opponent. Draco Meteor gets shielded. We have shields down. Hopefully, this means we can see a Solar Beam in the endgame. In comes Rayquaza. Rayquaza going to get hit with a move. No shields remaining. This crunch is going to hurt, and that's nearly enough to KO. Rayquaza makes it to the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe is going to get them into the red. We see a simultaneous switch, and now we have Groudon going up against Zacian. Zacian forced to go for close combats in this matchup, but close combat will of course debuff its defense quite severely. Groudon firing off the Fire Punch. Fire Punch, they are double debuffed, so this is going to get them incredibly low, and going for Fire Punch number 2, not wanting them to make it to another close combat. That Fire Punch is going to KO. Opponent sends back in the Gyarados. Gyarados is going to be met with a Fire Punch, and it's low enough where this will actually KO. Fire Punch KOs. Back in comes Dialga. No Solar Beam in this game, but Primal Groudon still 1v3ing, KOing Dialga, and getting the win. All in all, these were some incredibly fun battles as we see the 5-0 being claimed there, featuring a very unexpected moveset, Solar Beam on Primal Groudon. At the time of recording, unfortunately, Mega Master League has been canceled for the rest of the season, but I still wanted to showcase these battles because, man, seeing those Solar Beams land was incredibly fun. And as I mentioned at the beginning, Doms is a fellow content creator. I believe he makes YouTube content and he streams over there on Twitch, so definitely go check him out as he does make some great stuff, and as you can see here, does have some very entertaining battles as well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is absolutely incredible, so thank you guys oh so very much, and until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.